It's good, fellas. I'm going to be going through my thoughts on who will be the champion of each division at the end of 2026, beginning of 2027, or whatever you want to call it. Um, Flyweight to heavyweight. Just kind of give my thoughts on like who I think will be champion, who I think they'll beat in that time. Starting with flyweight. I think Pantoja stays the champion. Truthfully, I don't really see anyone beating him anytime soon. Like, he's just shown an ability to stay calm in there, stay calm under the pressure. He's got good striking, elite grappling, elite back takes, elite submission ability. I think he submits Joshua Van. I think Tyra is a bit more stylistically, a little bit more of a difficult matchup maybe. But I'm not quite sure because Tyra's grappling is quite good, but I think he beats both of them. I lean towards maybe a Tyra decision though. But yeah, I think he really is one of the more dominant champions in the UFC right now. I think he can hold on this belt for quite a long time. Even with him being older, his style isn't really a style that you need to be super, super young with. Like, he's not insanely explosive or fast or anything, but it's like, especially in comparison to other flyweights, but he's just really durable. So I think he stays champion. I think he fights maybe twice in that time, maybe 3 times. It just kind of depends when that Van fight happens. I saw Joshua Van posted earlier today, though, with saying he signed a contract. So I'm assuming that happens maybe at MSG and or in Vegas in December. Either way, I think he'll fight at least once more after that. I'm not quite sure who would be other than Tyra after that. So that's just my thoughts on that. Moving up to bantamweight. Another champion who I think stays champion is Merab. I think he beats Corey. I think it goes later round, and I think he finishes Corey, maybe by strikes, which is kind of crazy to say that about Merab. But I think Corey likely will get tired, and I think Merab can finish that. Then next fight, I think Umar maybe. This is kind of hard to predict because I don't really know. I don't think Umar's had a fight announcement, but I think Umar will likely beat his next opponent. I'm not sure if Umar and Jan are fighting. It's a possibility. I'm not quite sure. But I think he beats both of them, truthfully. I think the Umar fight kind of goes similar to the first time. I think Merab might even do better in the second time. Supposedly, Merab had staph infection going in the first fight and was on antibiotics, which is just the wildest thing to me. That he can keep that pace at all. And then especially on antibiotics, that he can keep that pace is truly just insane. But yeah, I think he stays champion. I really don't see anyone beating him, especially with the way he's getting better going into every single fight that he has. Moving up to featherweight. This is the first division where I think this belt gets tossed around. So I think Volkanovski and Lerone Murphy are going to fight quite soon. I think that will be in December, supposedly. That's what Volk tweeted out after Lerone beat Pico. I think it's kind of a hard fight to predict. I'd have to break it down more, go watch some more things. But I think Lerone, just based on his recent performances, I think he's the type of guy that can beat Volkanovski. He's got cardio, he's got size, he's got the well-roundedness, he's durable, and he can finish fights too, I guess. Looking at the last one, which is the one gripe I had with him, but now he can. So I think I'm leaning towards Lerone Murphy there, but it's hard to say exactly. But either way, I think Silva and Lopez both beat Lerone Murphy. So I think I can't predict fully who wins that fight. I really want Diego Lopez to win. I like him 10 times more than Jean Silva. But I can't count Jean Silva out in that fight. But I think whoever wins that fight will beat Lerone. Because I think that the winner of that will probably get the title fight next. I'd assume, because I don't know who else would get it above them. Maybe Mavzar. I feel like Mavzar has to fight again. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I hate when fighters sit out for such a long time, and especially when they pull out and then they expect a title shot when they come back. I don't think it works like that. That's my opinion. Same thing with Mavzar. Same thing with Arman Sarukian, who we'll get into now. I think Ilia Topuria stays the champion at lightweight. I don't think anyone beats him. I don't think anyone gets close to beating him. I think Arman has the best chance to beat him, but I just don't think it happens. I don't want him getting the title shot next. I don't think he'll get the title shot next. I think, I just saw supposedly tweets on, or posts on X talking about Justin Gaethje supposedly getting the title shot next on 322, which, people aren't happy about it. I just don't know who really deserves the most. Theoretically, Max Holloway kind of does deserve it the most. It's just that he got knocked out by Elisa Boris, so they won't give it to him. Arman Tsarukyan, you can't sit out for so long and then expect a title shot and pull out as well. Charles had to fight again and ended up losing to Arman. Arman should have to fight again. That's just my opinion. But I think if they make that fight against Gaethje, Ilya knocks out Gaethje. I think if Ilya and Arman fight, if Arman fights another time before that, I think Ilya beats Arman. And then if Paddy gets a win after that, I think he beats Paddy. I just don't see anyone in this division beating him. I think Arman's probably the most difficult fight, but at the same time, I think Ilya probably knocks him out, just truthfully. But move to welterweight. This could be. People can argue this. I think a lot of people will. I don't see anyone at welterweight right now beating Jack Della Maddalena. I really don't. I think he is one of the most well-rounded fighters that I've seen quite a bit. His boxing is really just elite. His stand-up is elite. His defensive grappling is elite. He's got good cardio. He's got a chin. He's tough. I really just don't see anyone beating him. I think he beats Islam. I don't really know who gets the next fight after that, because there's fights that need to be made that haven't even been made yet. So maybe it's Gary, maybe it's Shavkat, maybe it's Sean Brady. No matter who it is, I really just don't see anyone beating him. And that might be crazy to say. If he can beat Islam, which I think he does, I don't want to say easily, but I don't think it's like I don't think it's insanely close. I think he can beat Islam pretty well, just based off what I've seen from him as of recent. I don't think Islam submits him. I think he's able to get up if Islam's able to take him down, and I think his stand-up is levels above Islam's. So, yeah. Going to middleweight. I got a lot of shit for calling out Khamzat Chimaev's performance against Dricus du Plessis. And I don't think people will understand what I was saying. I was saying that fight in particular was objectively boring, which it was. It was objectively boring. It doesn't mean it wasn't impressive. It doesn't mean that he's not a good fighter. It doesn't mean that he's overall a boring fighter, because none of those things are true. It was just objectively a boring performance. With that being said, it was extremely impressive. And if you're able to control people like that across 5 rounds, you'll never lose. You'll never lose, because you're never putting yourself in a situation where you're in trouble. However, with that being said, I think Imavov beats Cabral 49-46 is my guess. I think it goes to decision, probably, but it's kind of hard to fully predict. I do think I am more confident in Imavov to beat Barallo. After that, I think Chimaev beats Imavov. And then I think likely RDR will fight Hernandez. I think RDR beats Hernandez. And I really do want that Chimaev versus RDR fight. If that gets more of a possibility of happening, I will break that down. I think RDR poses a bit of trouble for Chimaev in the same way Gilbert Burns did off his back from guard. Chimaev does not like playing that jiu-jitsu game. If there was a middleweight Charles Oliveira, that would be Chimaev's worst nightmare, truthfully. And I think the closest thing you get to that is kind of RDR, but not really. But I think RDR may pose the biggest threat, but I also kind of don't know if Chimaev will fight twice before 2027. I think maybe he fights next October or something. I don't want to shit on it too much, but I just kind of think that's how it happens. moving to light heavyweight. This is kind of hard to predict. I think Alex Pereira beats Ankalaev in this rematch. Magomed showed his best game against Pereira and beat him, arguably beat him. It was closer than people remember. Go back and watch that fight, and you'll see how close that was. I think Alex beats him this time. I think Magomed showed his best game as much as he's got. I think Alex did not show his best game. His game plan was not great. He was able to defend takedowns really well. But I think Alex beats him. I'm pretty confident in that, actually. And then after that, I'm not fully sure how it goes because... Well, who's Yuri fighting? He's fighting Khalil, right? So I think Yuri beats Khalil. But I also think Carlos Ulberg beats Dominic Reyes. And they're like a week apart or something. So after that, I don't know who they'll give the title shot to, but I'm assuming they give it to Ulberg because Alex Pereira's already beaten Yuri Prohaska twice, which is unfortunate. Because I like Yuri. But I do think that's where it's heading. I'm pretty confident in Alex beating Ankalaev. I don't know who they'd give it to after that. And then I'm figuring, I do think Carlos Ulberg or Yuri Prohaska at this point, especially Carlos Ulberg being younger, and I think he'd meet Alex Pereira. You know, it's kind of crazy to say Yuri Prohaska could be Alex Pereira after what happened in the first two. But I think Yuri has leveled up. What he showed in that Jamal Hill fight, obviously Alex knocked out Jamal Hill, but I just think he looked really good. And we'll see. Khalil is a tough challenge for anyone, really. So we'll see how Yuri handles that, but I think he handles it pretty quickly. I think he gets Khalil Roger out of there. Last division, heavyweight. I don't really see anyone beating Aspinall. If Tom Aspinall uses his brain and wrestles Gane, I think he submits Gane. And then if he wins that, I think if he keeps the fight standing up against Jailton Almeida, who I think will likely be fighting for the belt next, because I think Almeida's fighting Alexander Volkov, who I think Almeida beats. I think he'll get the shot after that. Makes the most sense. He's one of the less sloppy heavyweights, which there are a few of. I think Aspinall, if he keeps that fight standing, he probably finishes Almeida as well. But I don't know. I think maybe he'd fight again after that, but I just don't know who it would be because the heavyweight division is just so crap right now. There's like 30 fighters or like 32 fighters signed in the heavyweight. It's just complete junk right now. But I just don't really see anyone beating Tom Aspinall as of right now. So yeah, that's my thoughts on where these divisions will be pretty much just over a year from now. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment. If you think any other people will be champion. I see a lot of people riding with Joshua Van in that Pantoja fight. As much as I like Joshua Van, I just can't count Pantoja out against anyone. I think he's being disrespected. They dropped him below Khamzat Chimaev in the pound for pound rankings, which I just think is kind of crazy. Whether you base it on title wins or you base it on size, like if you were to make them the same size and have them fight, I think Pantoja wins both of those. But either way, thanks for watching, guys. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. Thank you. Peace.